Hi everyone. So next important thing we are going to talk about is serverless offline. Right, whenever we write any kind of application, we always want that we should test it first on the local system and then only deploy it. Either the manual deployment of Lambda or the SLS deploy, which we are doing, right? So Serverless Offline is a plugin which is available in the Serverless. What it does is it is helping you to invoke Lambda locally. Even if you have written some test, you can also execute those tests locally. Okay. So forget about and don't worry about this code which is written. It's just nothing but a simple template we have. You can get these templates from the SLS create command. The main focus here is understanding these different features provided by serverless, right? So here is my serverless.yml, and here I just need to add this plugin serverless offline. Okay, serverless bundle is another plugin. What it does is it uses the webpack to create the node.js package. When you are writing a lot of code and additional libraries you are using, like I'm using JSON Web Token, bcrypt libraries and all the additional libraries, then obviously we need webpack to create a bundle before actually send it to the serverless for the deployment. So we can use serverless webpack, serverless bundle, serverless offline to enable our system to test these lambdas locally. Okay, so I mean it's the same code, just a plugins we have added, and you can see a very basic function we have written. We haven't talked about these events, but Lambda without events, think about it. We are writing Lambda and then how do we invoke it? We have to enable events. What these events are? Nothing but a trigger, right? Lambda can be triggered from the HTTP, Lambda can be triggered from the associated trigger, like you write something to the S3, then Lambda will be triggered, or you are actually making an explicit call from the API gateway. API gateways has a mapping with this Lambda for HTTP get / hello, then that Lambda will be invoked, right? So this is the events mapping which we have created. Simple function. Now I want to test this, right? So what we can do is first of all we have to add this serverless offline plugin and then add it in the serverless YML, do npm install, simple thing. And then the next thing which we are going to do is, let's execute this from here. So we are in the RESTful, and here we can see we'll just use the readme file. We have done the npm install. How to use the serverless offline? We can actually invoke the Lambda using simple command this. It is same as SLS, either you call it as SLS or serverless. Okay, and then we can also simulate this API gateway locally, right? Let's say I'm hitting this Lambda from the API gateway, it's HTTP GET call. If we can simulate the actual thing, then it would be awesome, right? We can actually we can simulate this API gateway also using serverless offline start. What it will does is it will actually helps us to trigger this Lambda from some HTTP endpoint, right? So serverless offline start, what it will do is it will start it offline, and we should be able to hit that endpoint. Then you can test it from the postman. So think about it. You have a dynamodb, you have the lambdas, and you wanted to test it locally. How do you do it? You can set up the dynamodb also locally, and then you should be able to expose these HTTP resource like RESTful APIs to some endpoint, like something like this. Here I have like localhost 3000, right? And the endpoint is hello. Right, so what you will do is you will just hit / hello onto this particular path, and you should be able to execute it. So that's what the offline execution and offline testing of a particular Lambda. There are some warnings, but we can avoid it because we are not passing the stage surveys, because stage is required when you actually deploy a Lambda. Stage can be your environment name like dev stage or production stage, something like that. So here, and once you are ready, then you can do the serverless deploy, and then you can actually invoke and all these things. Here you can also do the testing. Npm test is actually a command. What it is doing is you have written some particular test inside a test, and it is nothing but it is actually calling that function and just executing it through that handler. We imported that handler, and then handler.hello, we are just calling and executing it, right? So this is how we can make our application or serverless project production ready, by introducing this serverless offline plugin, introducing this webpack bundling, and introducing enough test. So before we do SLS deploy, serverless deploy a function name, we should be able to test it even by simulating the API gateway. That's why this is important part here, serverless offline start, because this is actually doing the same thing what API gateway will end up doing. It will expose your Lambda through some endpoint, right? Okay, that's it in this video. Now our next target is write the code. Till now we are just using these templates, but write the code for let's say an application which is using DynamoDB and some REST endpoints. Let's do that in the next video.